Hello, my name is Marcello. Welcome to the Source Audio Video Design Group's YouTube channel. Today we will discuss the Mishi X3 Integrated Stereo Amplifier. This video will discuss the design, build quality, and my sound impressions of the X3. Before we get into my impressions, let's discuss who Mishi is. Mishi is the flagship series of products built on the history and heritage of RAAL. The current Mishi line of products at the time of this video comprises the X5 Integrated, the X3 Integrated, P5 Stereo Preamplifier, S5 Stereo Amplifier, and the M8 Monoblock Amplifier. Today's video will focus on the X3, the most affordable component in the current lineup. At the time of making this video, it sells for $5,299 and punches above its price both in sound quality and build quality. The X3 will deliver 350 watts of Class AB into 4 ohms or 200 watts per channel into 8 ohms. THD measures less than 0.008% with an FR of 10 Hz to 100 kHz for the line level inputs and 20 Hz to 20 kHz for the digital inputs and 20 Hz to 20 kHz for the phono input. The dimensions are more significant than a standard component, and you will need to take care in placement as the X3 will not fit on the interior shelves of many standard size audio racks with a width of 19 inches, a height of 6 inches, a depth of 17 3/4 inches, and weighing about 64 pounds. Inside the Mishi X3, you have a massive custom high current toroidal transformer and stunning internal design, home to an AKM Premium 32-bit 768 kHz digital analog converter, Bluetooth aptX and AAC, and the X3 is also certified room tested and will appear as the RAAL X3. On the beefy backside of the X3, you will find a ground and good sounding phono input, followed by several other inputs, including CD, tuner, and auxiliary. Next on the back, you have a mono subwoofer out and preamplifier out, followed by balanced XLR inputs and the Bluetooth antenna. Directly underneath the first row of inputs and outputs, you have 3 optical inputs, 3 digital coaxial inputs, an Ethernet port for updates via the internet or IP control for integration with automation systems, a USB input capable of both Class 1.0 and 2.0 modes, which allow you to take full advantage of the sample rates of the internal DAC. Next, you have the EXT REM input jack for receiving command codes from industry standard infrared receivers via hard connection. 12-volt trigger output to send a 12-volt signal when powered on to a compatible component such as a CD player, a USB power port for software updates, an RS-232 for integration with automation systems, and the power switch with the AC power inlet, and 2 sets of left and right high-quality speaker connectors which allow for bi-wiring if that is your cup of tea. Looking at the front of the X3 is an absolute pleasure. In a world of overly flashy or vintage stylized amplifiers, the industrial design of the Mishi X3 exudes elegance and simplicity with a focus on ease of use and function. With only 2 large dials, source and volume, a 1/4-inch headphone output, remote sensor, and the power button on the front of the X3, the amplifier trades lots of controls and physical adjustments you find on other amplifiers for a bright black and white LED display with an intuitive and easy-to-use menu system even without reading through the 20-page manual. The black glass front and LED display allow you to customize the display to your liking, adjusting brightness levels or completely turning it off. I don't know why one would want to do that, especially with all the killer options available for view, which include normal mode, which shows the input source and FR of the digital track you are playing, and the volume level. Where it really gets fun is the killer VU dB meter that allows you to zoom in from 2 to 8 times on the meter based on your preference, or my personal favorite, the spectrum analyzer that will enable you to select between 8, 12, or 16 bands of the FR to watch as the music plays. All of these settings can be adjusted from the incredibly well-built remote that matches the finish of the X3. The remote, like the integrated amplifier's front display and controls, is easy to use with a power button, a display button that you hold to power off the display and press once to turn it back on, the setup button, which brings you to all the areas you will likely want to play around with to get things just the way you want them. Next is an audio button that allows you to adjust the balance, tone control, plus or minus 10 dB in the bass at 100 Hz and the treble region at 10 kHz. A source button, large easy to use up and down arrows to cycle through the menu options, a mute button, and lastly volume. Elegant simplicity that is a pleasure to use. The Mishi X3 is built like a tank or looks more like a stealth bomber, and every detail of its build seems well thought out. The only thing you should be aware of is that you will need a streamer. Something like a ZenStream will get you the full capability of the internal DAC, including DSD64 and 128 for not much money, and works flawlessly with Roon, unlike Bluesound's Node, which at the time of filming this video is still not capable of outputting sound properly via its USB, so you will be limited to 24-bit 192 kHz via optical, which I learned the hard way after purchasing a Node. If you love playing records, the X3 is designed to play vinyl with phono cartridges only. Lastly, there is no HDMI auto return channel if you intend to use it with your smart TV and want one simple remote solution. Other than that, the features and build quality offered by the X3 punch way above its asking price of $5,299, and with the amount of power the X3 has, it will power even some of the most demanding speakers out there. Included with the X3 is a power cord, USB cable, Ethernet cable, flash drive for updates, and the remote. For more in-depth specs on the X3, visit the links in the video description below. Before I get into my sound impressions, I should let you know I purchased the Michi X3 with my own money to have a reference solid-state Class AB 2-channel integrated amplifier to pair with my personal Sonus Faber Olympica Nova 5 tower speakers. While I looked at many other fantastic options, the features, sound quality, price, and aesthetics kept bringing me back to the Michi X3. After owning it for some time now, I don't regret the purchase one bit. It truly is one of the best values for the money, and I recommend you give it a listen at your local dealer if you are in the market for an integrated amplifier. So let's get into the sound. I would describe the sound of the Michi X3 as neutral sounding, transparent, dynamic, and lively, focusing on musicality and natural sounding detail reproduction with a pitch black background with no audible noise, even when paired with my Klipsch Heresy 4 highly efficient horn speakers. The Michi X3 has superb control over the drivers in my Nova 5 towers, fleshing out full, impactful bass. In my experience, the X3 won't add extra bass to thin-sounding speakers or alter the sound characteristics of your speakers unless you make adjustments with a built-in tone control. Compared to less powerful and not as well-built integrated amps, the X3's bass sounds more dynamic, detailed, and authoritative. The mid-range is neutral, with a touch of warmth for some vocals and just a bit of forwardness with strings when listening with my Nova 5s, which I love, and the mid-range of the X3 doesn't color things with the Nova 5s, allowing them to sound as Sonus Faber intended them to. The treble is well extended, but never bright or too forward, creating an engaging sound that is never fatiguing. Since the X3's purchase, it has allowed me to escape into my favorite music via vinyl, compact disc, and Roon streaming many days and nights. The soundstage of the X3 is wide, with good depth, and when paired with the Nova 5 speakers creates large and well-defined images of instruments and vocalists on their given soundstage, fleshing out so much subtle detail and nuances from music and different instruments. I've often listened to the X3 and Nova 5s and been startled by how realistic and lifelike instruments and vocals sound, as if the musicians are playing a private show for me in my home. The Michi X3 is an amp that gets out of the way. It takes the sonic characteristics of your speakers and your room and allows them to be heard as they are, which is an excellent amplifier for someone who is looking for a reference integrated amp that will let them listen to what different speakers, turntables, cartridges, CD players, or additional digital analog converters feeding the Michi X3 to get a different flavor. In fact, when I fed my Chord Hugo TT2 into the balanced inputs of the Michi X3, the neutral, transparent, and powerful design of the X3 allows you to hear the TT2's FPGA chip's more analytical sound implementation with faster transients, impeccable timing, finer details, and a deeper sounding soundstage. However, the internal AKM DAC in the X3 is formidable and well implemented with ample detail, great soundstage width, and good stage depth. The amplifier presents a very natural timbre for instruments and vocals, so lovely to listen to for hours on end. If anything, the velvet sound of the AKM DAC inside the X3 presents the sound more delicately than more analytical DACs will. The phono input for the X3 sounds very good with my Marantz TT15S1 with clear audio virtuoso cartridge. The only other integrated amplifier I have heard in the house that I like better with my turntable is my reference integrated tube amplifier, the ARC i50. For this video, I didn't directly compare the two as my i50 is currently at the factory having the DAC card installed. However, if that were a comparison video you would like to see in the future, drop us a comment below and let us know. The i50 is a less powerful tube amplifier and a bit more expensive with the AKM DAC card and phono option, but it could make for a fun video regardless. For my preferences, the Michi X3 would pair best with speakers with a natural sound, neutral presentation, a touch of warmth, or a bit laid back in character. I wouldn't likely pair the X3 with overly mid-range forward, bright, or thin-sounding speakers and expect amazing results unless you use the internal tone control to help a little with the treble and bass. Still, even then, I would always match the amp with speakers that will synergize the best. The X3 sounds very good at lower volume levels. However, in my room with the X3 at about 50 on the volume dial, the Nova 5 towers step up to another level. The X3 plays well with all music I listen to: jazz, classical, electronic, rock, new age, alternative, orchestral, acoustic, metal, pop, and R&B, to name a few. Whatever I throw at the Michi X3 and the Nova 5 sounds fantastic, leaving me with an emotional response on every listen in my sound-treated room. Now, the Mishi X3 isn't going to fix bad recordings that don't sound great. That is not what I'm saying. It will present and hold true to the recording and the other source components and speakers you pair with it. Suppose you're shopping for an integrated speaker amplifier and not looking to spend Macintosh money on an integrated amp such as the MA8950, or maybe you have been looking at the Hagel H390, which is also more expensive than the Mishi X3. In that case, I highly recommend you get out to your local Mishi dealer and give the X3 a listen, one of the best values for your money in the HiFi integrated amp world. If you're in SoCal, we would love to see you stop by our 10,000 square foot showroom, hang out with us, and listen to the entire line of Mishi products. The X5, or the bigger brother of the X3, is even more impressive and is worth a listen versus the X3. If you're interested in trading up your old headphones, amplifiers, or other gently used audio gear for a new set of speakers or new amplifier, check out the links in the video description to our trade-up program, and don't forget, we will price match other authorized dealers. We have some cool videos coming this year with new product announcements, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay in the know. From $150 earphones to multi-million-dollar home audio, cinema, and automation systems, TSAV is a hi-fi enthusiast paradise for building the system of your dreams. So let's start the conversations in the video comments on what you think of the Mishi X3. Do you have a favorite Mishi amplifier and speaker pairing? While you're there, smash that like button for us. Until next time, friends, remember, let the music be your guide.